My name is Heidi Monro. I am a physician assistant and I worked for St. Al's Medical Group in Boise. And then the majority of my time was spent in the Idaho Army National Guard in aerospace medicine. So as a PA, a normal day is mostly seeing patients as a doctor would or a nurse practitioner. So there's the clinical part of it, and then documenting on that, and then following up on lab tests or x-rays or things that they have done, and then a little bit of admin stuff as well. So that's a PA in general. In the military, it's quite a bit different because I was working specifically with aviation medicine and helicopter and airplane pilots. So a little bit of a different specialty, but the same kind of idea. Yeah, so the National Guard in general is something that has typically been like a military force on reserve for the state. So like if there are floods or avalanche or wildfires, any of that kind of stuff, we could get called up to help. But otherwise, we just spend time training for if that time ever comes. So originally, I joined the Guard just to it was when I was young, kind of newly married, and it was mostly for extra income and medical benefits for our very young growing family. I joined actually, I signed the paperwork on 9/11. So even though I intended to only be working there part-time on the weekends, I ended up deploying to Iraq and things changed a little bit. Then when I came back, I actually went to work there for full time. So that became my full-time job. Like I never thought when I was your age, I never thought, oh, I'm going to be a physician assistant. I actually wanted to go into journalism, to broadcast journalism. And so I joined the Air Force early on to be on air it's called the Armed Forces Network. So I could get experience for the job I was going to college for at the time. But instead of putting me in that position, they made me a medic. So I was a military medic and then came to love medicine and wanted to be more than just a medic. So I applied to PA school. So I think I kind of talked about how I got to PA school because I liked the medical aspect of things, but I wanted to be able to not just like draw blood and perform tests. I wanted to be the one that was actually in charge of caring for the patient. And I think I liked it because I'm pretty easy to get people to talk, and a lot of medicine is more mental than physical. So I loved it for that reason. And then once I was doing it and I was in the military, I became fascinated with the whole aviation side of things. And so that took on a whole new life of its own because now I was the provider for all the pilots, but part of that meant that I had to accrue so many flight hours every month. I didn't have to do like all the mechanical stuff on the aircraft, but I got to fly so many hours a month. So it was pretty awesome. Right. So you get more into like the physiology of like what changes in your body when you go to higher altitudes. And they have to deal with G-force and a lot of things in the sky that you can see that you're not accustomed to on the ground. There's a lot more medical stuff to it than most people realize. I would say find out what it is before you get into it, because if it turns out you don't like dealing with patients on a day-to-day basis, you probably won't like the job. If you think it's a gateway to become a doctor, then you should just go to medical school because it's not a doctor. It's You could factor that in with becoming a PA, and I think you'd have a much better quality of life, even though you might not think your title is as prestigious as a doctor. Young women your age, they think about the career and the prestige, and they forget to think about what they really want out of life. There's a bit of, ooh, I could do that. I could show the world that I can become that. But if you don't actually want to do it every day, don't prove it to anybody. I grew up very poor, very low middle class, in a family and a town where it was expected, like the best you can do in life is like marry a guy that has a good job at the mill, and then have kids and live your life. It was never expected that I would go to college. And if I did, I knew that I was not smart enough or rich enough to be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. I'd have to go just pick a basic thing, which is absolutely untrue. Whatever you think you want to do, don't let money or your parents' financial situation make you not think about it. In retrospect, of course, I could have went to medical school, but nobody ever encouraged me to. And if anything, was like, you would never, you don't have the money and you don't have the brains. When actually, I think all of education is more about perseverance. Yeah, I loved all of it. I loved my career and would never change it for anything. I would say the patients were my favorite part when I first started out. And then it got more into like military deployment medicine and mobilization medicine and humanitarian missions and, aviation medicine. And so I did all that and it was really cool. So you need good people skills, good ethical skills, and I think a good ability to be open-minded and see all sides of a story. I could not have asked for it to turn out better because, as I mentioned, when I was your age, in my heart of hearts, I knew that I would marry a guy that worked at the mill and have kids and, you know, probably have a bowling league on Wednesday night, and that would be my life. So I never imagined I would have achieved the things I did. Um, and a lot of it is due to other people and programs like convincing me, like, you could do that. Why couldn't you do it?